All right, listeners, buckle up because today we're diving into a world of immortals, secret societies, and let's just say there's plenty of steamy romance.
Yeah, you could say that.
We're talking about Ellie Sandoval's Carnal Sanctuary trilogy.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
3 books, Savannah's Awakening, Savannah's Temptation, and Savannah's Desires that will leave you breathless. And not just because of the, well.
Sandoval really knows how to blend the paranormal with the erotic. It's quite a unique mix. Keeps you on the edge of your seat, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And that's why we're here today, to break it all down for you.
Give you the inside scoop.
Exactly. So let's start with book 1, Savannah's Awakening. We meet Savannah, a seemingly ordinary woman who feels this unexplainable urge to drive to Astoria.
A town she's never even heard of, right? Like, what's that all about?
Right. It's like she's being pulled by some invisible force, some destiny she doesn't even understand.
It's all very mysterious.
And of course, that drive doesn't exactly go smoothly. She gets into this horrific car crash. I mean, we're talking mangled metal, the whole 9 yards.
You'd think she wouldn't survive.
Exactly. But somehow, Savannah walks away with barely a scratch.
First clue that something's up. This is no ordinary woman.
Right. And that's when we meet Roman,
Oh, Roman.
the enigmatic, and get this, 8,000-year-old immortal who runs a sanctuary in Astoria.
Talk about an age gap.
Right. But seriously, Roman is this incredibly complex character full of secrets and ancient wisdom, and he seems to have a thing for collecting strong, independent women.
Like Savannah.
Exactly. But one of the things I love about Savannah's Awakening is that it's not just about Savannah and Roman. There's a whole cast of characters that add to the intrigue. Like Emily, the seemingly unassuming maid who, well, let's just say she has a hidden talent.
Hidden talent is putting it mildly.
True. And then there's Ansel, the hulking butler who's clearly hiding something.
He gives me the creeps right from the start.
Me too. And Candace, the sweet nurse who cares for Savannah after the crash. And of course, we can't forget Hero,
Roman's former lover.
a powerful vampire who makes a dramatic exit early on. Seriously, there's so much going on in this book.
It's like a powder keg waiting to explode.
And then boom, Savannah is attacked by the Lilin.
Ancient vampire-like creatures who worship the ultimate baddie, Lilith.
Talk about a terrifying introduction to the supernatural world.
Definitely not your average Tuesday night.
And this attack triggers Savannah's awakening. She discovers she's not just human, but something more, something powerful. But with that power comes a whole lot of danger.
The stakes are raised.
Big time. So by the end of Savannah's Awakening, we know Savannah is on a path that's anything but ordinary. She's caught in this world of immortals, ancient beings, and yeah, things are about to get even more complicated. But we'll dive into that in part 2, where we tackle Savannah's temptation.
Can't wait to see what trouble she gets into next.
Me neither. Okay, so Savannah's temptation. Things get really intense in book 2. Savannah's still reeling from that Lilin attack.
And trying to control these powers that are just erupting.
And trying to tame a wild beast, right?
Exactly. And the Lilin, they're not just going to back off.
Oh no, they're relentless, still trying to get their claws into Savannah.
But luckily, she's got some help.
Yeah, this is where Zoe comes in,
Zoe, the badass sex witch.
who basically becomes Savannah's mentor.
Showing her the ropes, teaching her how to harness that power.
Girl power.
Exactly. It's actually really cool how Sandoval shows how important mentorship is for Savannah.
It's like she needs someone to guide her through this crazy world.
Especially with all the Lilin drama going on.
Yeah, the conflict with them really escalates in this book.
And then there's the tension between Roman and the sheriff, Argus.
Who, as it turns out, is in cahoots with the Lilin.
Total shocker. And don't even get me started on Dylan.
Dylan, the stripper from book 1.
Yeah, her. Turns out she's not just a pretty face. She's like a source of this powerful moon magic.
And she's working with the Lilin. Wow, talk about a plot twist.
Sandoval really throws you for a loop in this one.
She does. And then things get really scary when Ryler, one of the Lilin leaders,
nearly kills Roman.
Yeah, that attack was brutal. It really forces Savannah to step up and embrace her powers.
She actually uses this thing called a psionic net.
Oh, what?
A psionic net, it's like a telepathic web that she uses to control energy.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah, and she ends up saving Roman's life. It's a turning point for her.
She really comes into her own.
By the end of Savannah's temptation, it's clear she's not messing around.
She's a force to be reckoned with. And then, of course, we have book 3, Savannah's Desires, the final showdown with Lilith.
Things get pretty crazy in Astoria after Ryler's attack on Roman. I mean, he's recovering, but...
But the town's in chaos.
Right. The Lilin pretty much destroyed everything trying to free Lilith.
Yeah, they didn't quite succeed, but they left a lot of damage in their wake.
The whole sheriff's department is gone. It's really intense.
Intense is an understatement. And, Ryler's still out there.
As if things weren't bad enough, now there's a new Lilin leader, Kane.
Like, they just keep coming. But amidst all this chaos, Savannah's still training, honing her powers.
With Zoe and this new character, Cyril, a sex warlock.
Wait, what? A sex warlock?
Yeah. He's pretty amazing, actually. And then there's this powerful Kinshai, Aedra, who's like a living embodiment of nature.
This world just keeps getting more and more complex. But wait, we have to talk about Ansel.
Oh,
Oh,
Ansel.
The betrayal. I was so shocked when it turned out he was working with Lilith the whole time.
It really makes you question who Savannah can trust.
Right. And the worst part is he was the one pulling the strings in book 2, manipulating everyone.
Talk about a mastermind.
But even with all the betrayals and the chaos, Savannah steps up as a leader.
She rallies her allies for the final battle against Lilith.
And that battle is epic. I mean, talk about edge of your seat action.
Kane's death was pretty gruesome. Remember how Lucas had to turn into a werewolf to defeat him?
Yeah, that was intense. And Roman almost dies again, this time from poison.
It's a roller coaster of emotions. And then Zoe gets captured and controlled by Ryler.
It's like one thing after another.
But Savannah, she never gives up. She uses her telekinesis, the ability to move things with her mind to overpower Ryler.
That's amazing.
It is. And finally, Roman confronts Lilith. It's an epic showdown that ends with her demise.
Phew. It's a satisfying ending to this whole crazy battle.
Yeah.
But it also leaves you with a sense of wonder, like, what's next for Savannah?
And Roman. What's it like for him to finally be free from the threat of Lilith after thousands of years?
Those are great questions. But, one thing I kept thinking about was how Savannah's journey, it's like a metaphor for the potential we all have inside us.
The parts of ourselves that we might be afraid to explore.
Exactly. Like, what if we all embraced those hidden parts of ourselves? What could we achieve?
It's something to think about, for sure. But before we get too philosophical, let's take a step back and appreciate Sandoval's use of symbolism in the series.
Oh, yeah, the symbolism. It adds so much depth to the story.
Like the recurring image of the maze.
Which represents the complexity of Savannah's journey.
And the raven, which is associated with both Roman and Savannah. It's a symbol of transformation and mystery.
And let's not forget the Raven King, that legendary figure from Celtic mythology, who plays a subtle but important role.
Sandoval really layered the symbolism in, and I love how she blends traditional vampire lore with fae magic and sex magic and even ancient Sumerian mythology.
It's a really unique blend. It makes you realize how powerful stories can be, how they can transport us to other worlds.
Speaking of power, let's talk about the Lilin and their obsession with it.
Yeah, they're all about domination and control. Their twisted sexuality really highlights their corrupt nature.
It's interesting to contrast them with Savannah, who ultimately uses her power for good.
To protect those she loves and defend Astoria.
It raises the question, what is true power? Is it about domination and control like the Lilin believe?
Or is it about love and compassion and fighting for what's right, like Savannah?
Big questions. But Carnal Sanctuary is more than just a steamy paranormal romance.
It makes you think, it makes you feel, and it definitely leaves you wanting more. Speaking of wanting more, what happened to Hero?
Right. She just vanishes after that dramatic breakup with Roman. What's her story?
And what about Roma's memory lapses? Are they just a side effect of immortality, or is something more to it?
Sandoval definitely knows how to keep us guessing, but I have a feeling she's not done with this world yet.
I hope not. But, what does all this mean for you, the listener?
Beyond the excitement and the steamy encounters, what resonates with you?
What stays with you after you finish the last page?
Maybe you'll even find the courage to embrace your own hidden potential, just like Savannah did.
Welcome back. We've been deep diving into Ellie Sandoval's Carnal Sanctuary trilogy. And, it's really got me thinking, it's more than just a steamy paranormal romance. Savannah's journey, this world of immortals, all these thought-provoking themes, it really sticks with you.
It's true. A good story can do that, make you think about things long after you finish reading. And Carnal Sanctuary definitely has that effect.
Yeah, it makes you question things like power and love, even what it means to be human. Or, immortal in this case.
One of the things that really struck me was how Sandoval portrays female power. Savannah, Zoe, even Emily in her own way. They're all so strong and independent.
Definitely. They forge their own paths. They don't let anyone define them. And it's not just the women either. Even Roman, with his, 8,000 years of baggage, he grows and evolves throughout the series, shows vulnerability.
Right. It's refreshing to see those complexities, both in the male and female characters. They make mistakes, they have flaws, but they keep trying, keep learning.
And I think that makes them relatable, even with all the immortal stuff going on.
It does. And speaking of relatable, I love how the series doesn't shy away from the ups and downs of relationships.
Yeah, it's not all sunshine and roses, even for immortals. They have to
No.
communicate, work through challenges, build trust.
Exactly. It makes you think, what does a healthy relationship look like when you have literally thousands of years to figure things out?
Right. It's definitely not your average relationship advice column.
Not at all. And we can't forget about those lingering mysteries. Like, what's the deal with Roman's memory lapses? Is there something more going on there?
I know. Keeps you guessing, wondering if you can really trust him.
And even though the series ends with Lilith's defeat, it feels like there's still so much more to explore. What adventures await Savannah and her allies?
I hope Sandoval writes more stories in this world. But, thinking about it all, it makes me wonder, what does Savannah's journey, this whole story, mean for the listener?
Yeah, beyond the excitement, the steamy encounters, the epic battles,
Yeah.
what resonates with you?
What stays with you long after you've closed the book?
Maybe it's the idea of embracing your own potential, even the parts that scare you, just like Savannah did.
Maybe it's about finding your own strength, your own path. Or maybe it's just enjoying a really good story. Whatever it is, I hope Carnal Sanctuary leaves you feeling inspired, maybe even a little bit empowered.
And if you're looking to dive deeper, and explore some of the themes in mythology, there are so many resources out there. Books on Sumerian myths, Celtic folklore, even the history of Astoria itself.
And don't forget to check out Ellie Sandoval's website and social media. Connect with other fans, see what she's working on next.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into Carnal Sanctuary, I just want to say this. Never underestimate the power of a good story.
Let yourself get lost in other worlds, meet unforgettable characters, and you never know what you might discover about yourself along the way. Thanks for joining us.